now we arrived at, I think, my least favorite Karate Kid movie. And it's tough saying that because this is a movie that, while it does have flaws, they're nothing really that major, to be honest. It's kind of just so inoffensive, this movie, that I just don't give a shit, and I'll probably never see this movie again. Genuinely. Um, Quick backstory with this movie. For me, I remember seeing this movie in the theater. Now, I don't remember anything about it. I don't remember I liked it. I do kind of vaguely remember people not being excited about it or some people talking trash about it just because it's a remake, right? And it's kind of funny to think about that because that was in 2010 when remake and sequel culture was starting to happen. It was the beginning of the 2010s decade, right? But it hadn't really blown up in the way it was. I think, kind of started. And a lot of these also sequels and reboots didn't really do well. Like they did Total Recall reboot, RoboCop one, kind of some other ones didn't really do well. Where now we're in 2025, and we just had the first year ever where sequels were the only top 10 in the box office, and all we get is sequels, and people accept it every goddamn time, regardless of the quality of the movie. Moana 2 was kind of shitty, yet everyone saw it. Mufasa, kind of shitty. Everyone saw it. So it's just kind of weird to think about that, but it just kind of in my brain then. But yeah, so this movie to me feels like the Annie remake. If you don't know, there was a remake of Annie in 2014, and I kind of vaguely remember people being mad. Hey, they're updating it as a remake. It's not really necessary. And then, aside from a few people talking shit about it, everyone forgot that movie happened. No one cared. Now that movie is significantly worse than this movie, but it kind of feels the same with this movie. And I can see what. Now there are two. Let's just talk about the two major flaws because they're kind of obvious. This is called the Karate Kid, and you can't really do the Karate Kid if it's set in China. I have no idea why they chose to set this in China other than they wanted Jackie Chan. Which here's the reality. I think Jackie Chan is a wonderful person actor, so I don't take this as disrespecting him or anything. I find it incredibly racist at this point that Jackie Chan keeps taking the roles of Japanese Americans in some of these projects. I'm sorry, but Master Splinter is Japanese. While he was fine in Mutant Mayhem, but you're doing the Shredder. You gotta have that rivalry and that talk of Japanese heritage. Same thing with the Karate Kid. Mr. Miyagi's Japanese. It's very important to these characters, and if it's racist to replace a white guy in an Asian role, then we gotta make the same principle stand for some of these projects. And I think even Jackie Chan, from my understanding, he approached this project and he's like, yeah, but we don't do kung fu or karate. I mean, in China we do kung fu. That's what I do, and yet he still took the role. So I just think this whole thing is kind of a thing of like, I'm not. I'm clearly he was not wanting to do this movie like in the sense that this was his idea. It was a studio decision, and I just feel like it's so bizarre. Other than I guess Jackie Chan is probably one of the most famous martial artists. It was, it's just really weird. And then Jaden Smith is very clearly nepotism. Everyone knows that, right? He is so young in this movie. First of all, I think he's 12, and he looks like he's 10. And then it's just like, it's so weird to see these like middle schoolers beating the shit out of each other. And high schooler, it makes a little bit more sense. And even in the original Karate Kid, I think Ralph Macchio was quite a bit older too, so he was able to do those high school sequences. I think by the time they kind of finished with those Karate Kids movies, they were adults. So it's kind of like those high school drama elements work because most of those people were adults. Same thing with Cobra Kai. I think some of them started when they were younger, but I think the majority of them now are adults, and they make that stuff work a lot more. It's very weird to see actual kids beating each other up in this movie, and it just doesn't feel right or that entertaining to watch. And Jaden Smith's not that great of an actor. He's not horrible, but he's also not good either. And that's the whole thing about this movie. These flaws I'm pointing out to you, like, they don't really break anything about the movie, except the Jackie Chan thing. It is so distracting to see a movie called The Karate Kid constantly do kung fu and mention kung fu. It's just really weird. But other than that, nothing really breaks this movie. Like, a lot of people go, well, yeah, but if it's fine, it's called The Karate Kid. I can look past that. Fine if you can look past that. But what is it? What else is to this movie? There really isn't any substance to it. It's really just the studio being like, we should update this because money. And it made money enough that, we're getting a sequel, kind of, with the new Karate Kid movie coming out. But it doesn't really matter in the sense that this movie isn't bad, but also isn't anything special or have any real meaning to it at all. I just not really sure what the point of this movie was, other than money. And I feel like there's remakes that anger people because they're not good. There's remakes that are great. This is just like straight in the middle of like all the remake culture and that kind of stuff of like, it's there and no one really remembers. This movie I know does have its defenders, but I just feel like most of their defenses, like, I can look past that it's called Karate Kid even though they don't do karate. I don't mind Jaden Smith that much. I'm like, okay, there's not really anything else they're praising here. Except maybe Jackie Chan's performance. But Jackie Chan's performance is still fundamentally flawed at the end of the day because he's in a movie he has no business being in. So I don't blame Jackie Chan for that. I blame the people who cast him and let this happen this way. But yeah, and I think I think definitely with the way things are so meta now, that new Karate Kids are gonna make jokes about that, and Daniel's gonna be like, "Whoa, that's not karate." He's like, "No, it's kung fu." I'm not sure if that was the correct accent for Jackie Chan, but it's like, that's probably what's going to happen. I don't know. Weird set of things. I don't know. We'll see.